The summer air felt heavy with unspoken tension the day my extended family summoned us for a family meeting. These gatherings were never about love or connection, they were about control, dressed up as tradition. From the second that group text arrived, I had been dreading it. I'm Martha, and I knew exactly what was waiting for me. The meeting was being held at my Uncle Richard's sprawling estate, where perfectly trimmed hedges and manicured lawns served more as props than places to relax. On my father's side, appearances were everything. The bigger the car, the flashier the watch, the pricier the champagne, the higher your worth. And by their standards, I was always on the bottom rung. I pulled into the driveway in my unassuming SUV, dressed simply in jeans and a plain white blouse. Before I even reached the patio, I caught the smirks. My cousin Olivia, practically dripping in designer labels as if she'd stepped off a runway, tilted her head with mock sympathy.
Well, look who made it. We weren't sure you could escape from whatever it is you're doing these days, she said, dragging out the words as if they tasted sour.
I returned her fake smile with one of my own. Lovely to see you too, Olivia. As I took a seat at the long outdoor table, I noticed every drink was served in crystal glasses, every piece of jewelry deliberately catching the sunlight. It was almost theatrical, like they'd practiced this moment. Uncle Richard tapped his glass. All right, everyone, let's get started. We've got a few things to discuss, the estate, some investments, future plans. That's when Aunt Vivian, who had appointed herself as queen of cutting remarks, turned to me with a sugary sweet smile. And of course, we need to talk about Martha's situation, she announced.
We've been worried.
It's not good for the family's image to have someone barely scraping by. A wave of murmurs and chuckles rippled around the table. My father sighed dramatically. Martha, you know we care about you, but you've always been different. You don't chase success like the rest of us.
You've been, well, poor. Poor.
I echoed, raising an eyebrow. Olivia jumped in eagerly. Oh, come on, Martha. You don't even post vacation pictures or new cars online. People assume you can't afford them. We just want you to honor the family name. I almost laughed. They had no idea. They didn't know I had built a private tech consultancy from the ground up over the last 5 years. They didn't know I had secured multi-million-dollar government and international contracts. My absence from social media wasn't because I had nothing worth posting, it was because I valued my privacy. But their little performance had crossed the line.
You're worried about me being poor?
I asked calmly. Maybe that's a conversation we should finish later. Uncle Richard smirked.
We'll finish it now.
You're not really contributing. You can't even match the family donations for this year's gala.
We think.
A distant sound interrupted him. At first, faint. A low rhythmic thump in the air. Then louder. Heads turned skyward. The noise became unmistakable, helicopter blades slicing through the summer air. Everyone rose, shielding their eyes. And there it was, my sleek black helicopter descending slowly onto the grass just beyond the patio. The table fell silent. I stood, smoothed my blouse, and walked toward the landing zone as the wind from the rotors sent everyone's carefully styled hair flying. The pilot stepped out, crisp uniform gleaming, and opened the side door. Ms. Morrison, he said with a respectful nod, using my business name, not the one my family knew. We're ready to depart whenever you are. Gasps erupted behind me. Morrison? My cousin Oliver blurted. As in Morrison Tech Group? That Morrison. I turned slowly. Yes. That's me, the poor one. The truth was finally out. 4 years, my consultancy had been making waves in the tech world. I'd kept my identity private for this very reason, to avoid these shallow games. I don't want to make this about money, I said evenly. But since you've spent the last hour mocking me for not being good enough, let me give you a reality check. I could buy this estate twice and still have enough left over to fund your precious gala for the next 10 years. Aunt Vivian's jaw dropped. My father looked like he'd bitten into a lemon. Olivia fumbled for words. We didn't mean it like that, she stammered. Actually, you did, I replied. And that's fine. Because I'm not here to seek approval from people who measure worth by handbags and champagne labels.
I build things that matter. I work with people who matter.
And I live a life that's mine, not some performance for strangers. Silence. For a moment, no one moved. I glanced at my watch. If you'll excuse me, I have a meeting in the city.
One that actually matters.
I stepped into the helicopter.
As the pilot secured the door and the rotors roared to life, I glanced back at the patio.
My family stood frozen, squinting against the wind, their perfectly styled hair whipping wildly. We lifted off. The estate shrank beneath us, and with it, the weight of their judgment.
Not because I'd proven them wrong, but because I finally stopped caring whether they ever believed in me at all. By the time the city skyline came into view, my mind was already shifting to the next deal, the next opportunity, the next chapter of my life.
A life where I no longer wasted time on people who only saw worth in what they could flaunt. The helicopter touched down on the rooftop of my downtown office. My assistant stood waiting with a file in hand. "Ready for the Morrison, Osaka signing, Ms. Morrison?" she asked.
"Always," I said, stepping out into the crisp air, leaving behind the small-minded world I had once been desperate to belong to.
That day at the family meeting, they called me poor. When the helicopter landed, they finally saw the truth. And I didn't need their approval to know my worth.